Hello everyone, welcome back to another one of my cryptocurrency update videos, and today, as always, I'll be covering vechain because it's one of my favourite coins, solving real world problems and all that. But yeah, so I just want to start off by saying that I didn't film a video yesterday and I'm sorry about that, but I was in hospital having some more tests done and it all came out positive. Turns out I'm just having some weird side effects to some new medication which I've started, so positive news there. And yesterday I got offered a new job, so it's been a really good day yesterday and I'm just buzzing. I'm so happy to start. And anyway, I know you want to get on with the video and so do I. So we're starting off with the weekly today. I've come onto the weekly because I have noticed quite a few significant things on the weekly and I just want to follow on from what I was talking about the other day. So previously, as we can see, we're still broken out of this rising wedge, which is a downwards pattern for now, and we do have the target of that is at the bottom of the wedge here. So just pointing that out, that comes down to 0.6, around 0.066 cent there for vechain. So I'm just gonna, let's add some fibs on and see where we're lining up right now. I'm gonna go from this bottom here right to the top of this wick here, because when you add the fibs you want to include the wicks. Okay, as we can see, I always say this, the 1 fib level is a very strong level of support. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red candles there for vechain, all straight in a row, straight down, plummeted basically on the weekly. 1, 2, 3, that's 5 weeks of just down. Okay, but what we can see here is we broke below this weekly support, and then that means that the sellers have brought it all the way down this week, all the way down to this level, and at last minute the buyers stepped in and we managed to push it back up above this weekly support. The following week we had a doji candle, which just means a kind of indecision. However, it is at key support levels here, and when it's at key support levels that means that it's more of a valid reason for the charts to go up basically, because it's held at this weekly support and the 1 fib level. So doji at support isn't a negative thing at all. Okay, and for this week, I know we've still got 1 day and 9 hours left, but we can see beginning of the week the sellers managed to push it below that weekly support level, so that would be quite worrying signs. That would be continuation to the downside in my opinion. However, right now, end of the week, the buyers again have jumped in, stepped into the charts and managed to push it up, and we're holding the body on this 1 level and the weekly support level, which is really good as well. Of course, over the weeks we could lose this, and if we do lose this we'll be heading down to the bottom of the wedge, which again is another support key level of support for the fibs. The 1.272 lines up perfectly with the bottom here, so if we do come down, that could be a worst case scenario. Not a worst case scenario, but you know what I mean, that could be the downwards target there, and we could also wick down to this weekly target down, this weekly support down here, as we did here. You can see it wicked down, tapped it and wicked back up, holding the 1.272. so either way that's kind of like your downwards targets here. When you're in a rising wedge, you have kind of like short-term technical targets, and those technical targets are the bottoms, are the lows in the wedge when it's actually inside the wedge. And what we can see is here we've hit, this is the first one, and we've actually only got 2 here, but we've hit here, and that is where we actually are now, and we are holding that level there. The 0.618 and the 0.5 are again key fib levels, and we've actually got an area of support and resistance here. That's why I have drew the box. What I would like to see is us coming back up to one of these levels, preferably the 0.618. However, what could happen is we could come back up really freely up to the 0.618, giving us all hopium, giving us hope basically, and then it could then roll back over to then meet our target down here. Of course, if that does happen, this is a new thing that I haven't spoke about yet, but if it did really rally up, hit your head here and roll back over, giving us that hope and then kind of rejecting it, that is called a dead cat bounce. That's just a bearish continuation sign, so it's really rally up, come back down. Although, if we actually came above here and held the 0.618 as support, that is very bullish signs, because it's a key level of support, a key fib level here, and a key area of resistance and support. If we manage to hold that support again, once you've come up past the 0.618, you then head into the 1. And the 1 brings us out of that rising wedge, which would be brilliant. A very key level of support here. Okay, so if we came up to the 1, held the 1 as support, our next target then, as I've always said, brings us up to the 1.618, and the 1.618 is at 34 cent for vechain, which would be incredible, and that brings us up to a new all-time high. So I actually think that I'm not giving out hopium here, but in my opinion, just in my opinion only, I think that really could be a possibility, especially because it's on the weekly, and the higher the time frame is, the more accurate sometimes your analysis can be. Okay, so I've moved on to the daily time frame for vechain now. There's not much on the daily, so I'm just going to speed through this time frame quickly. But we can see we've broke under the 20 moving average here, and since we've broken below it, we haven't actually come back to test it as resistance once, not once. So that's actually a positive sign for vechain, okay? Positive sign once again. So I'm talking quite a lot of positives here, but of course I could always be wrong. However, another thing, I've got the RSI up here. I have used the RSI in a good few of my last videos, but it is a very good indicator. And as we can see here, the lowest point on the RSI is lining up with this candle here, which actually isn't the lowest point of our actual market going on here. And the next low is a higher low, and on the market, on the actual chart, we've got a lower low here. So we can see here, the RSI is telling us we're going up, because we've got the bottom here, the RSI saying we've bottomed out and we've created a higher low, but the chart is actually saying that we've actually created a lower low here. So the chart's saying we're going down, the RSI saying we're going up, and as I said before, this is called a hidden bullish divergence there. Another really great sign for vechain. And finally guys, moving on to the 4-hour time frame just to see what's going on right now in the charts. So I'm going to start off with a fib right now, and we're going to go from this bottom here to the top of this wick here, swing low to swing high. Perfect. So straight away I can see that we've used the 0618 as strong support here, which is really good for vechain. Really good signs in the short term here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 big wicks here, all pushing up and holding this area as support as well, which is fabulous. We've also tested the 0.5 level of support and the 382, but what I'm expecting now is for us to roll back over, kind of have a little relief there and roll back over to the 0.5, because that is where our trend line is holding up here. We've got support, resistance, and support, so it's a key trend line there, so which also lines up with the 5 fib level, as I said. So we could relief back down to this level, which wouldn't be negative at all. Obviously we could also come back and retest the 0618, which again wouldn't be a bad thing either. And as always, I can't just talk about the positives, so if we did lose the 0618 and hit our head and use it as resistance, our next target is the 1, which isn't the worst case scenario because the 1 does line up with our previous downwards technical target, which we did hit, so we could come back all the way down here and retest that level again. And of course, which I don't think will happen, especially in the short term for vechain, but if we lose the 1, I always say we are going to go to the 1618, which is at 0.066 cent, which I think actually was my weekly rising wedge target, which I did say in the weekly time frame as well, that I don't think we are going to come all the way to that target, but it is still a target and it does line up with the 1618 on the 4-hour. So I think that would be like the bottom if we were to come down here. But I can't determine if it will or won't, and that is why I'm talking about the bullish side and the bearish side. And because now we have held the 0.1618, I can actually add another fib to get some upward technical targets. Because as you can see here, we are currently in a short-term uptrend. But anyway, let's see. So we go from this wick here, swing high, to swing low, and down to this wick. Always lose the wicks when you're using the fibs, basically. And as we can see, again, so we hit the 238, come back up, hit the 0618 here. We have actually kind of hit our head, used that as a little bit of resistance, so we could come back down, ranging between the 5 and the 382, because that's like it's a key level here. We've got a support line here, could hold that, which it has done before, or it could hold our trend line as support, which is, so I'm thinking could roll over to the 5, to the 382, one of those, or even range in between. However, we could also be coming back down to the 236, and it's held here. What we could be doing now is forming a W pattern, either coming down to here or down to the 382 W pattern, which is a continuation pattern, which would be fantastic. So if we can, even if we come down to here, eventually if we come back up to 0618 and hold that support, we then be heading up to the 1, which is a key previous resistance and support level as well. We can see, I'm not going to draw it, but we've got resistance, and support here. So if we could come back and hold that as support, that would be key, because we've got the 1 fib level, which is a really strong level of support to hold, and we're at a key resistance and support level too. If we hold the one, we know that next we go to the 1618, which I definitely can see happening for vechain. Obviously that's why I'm talking about both sides, because I could be completely wrong, and that takes us to 0.095 cent for vechain. So let's just look at the chart, keep looking at the charts, see how the weekly closes tomorrow, and hopefully can be back with another update. So thank you for watching. Just head over to my Twitter at bitbay_crypto and give that a follow. Like and comment on the video just to share your opinions, and subscribe to my channel because it really helps out. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Goodbye.